Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is the 78th episode of the American Reveille Podcast, and today we're going to talk all about how ridiculous this world has become because Newt Gingrich has put out an article. It's called Woke American Military Puts the U.S. in Danger. Here is how. And what led up to this article, all right, is an oath that Navy Task Force 1 is proposing all sailors have to take, an oath all sailors have to swear to. Let me read you the first sentence of this oath. I pledge to advocate for and acknowledge all lived experiences and intersectional identities of every sailor in the Navy. My God, does that mean if you identify as a treasure troll, I have to bring you crumpets this year? No. That means that they are introducing and injecting the poison of critical race theory into our sailors, and it'll only get worse from there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important podcast. Pay close attention and stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, episode 78 of the American Reveille Podcast. It is a Sunday morning. What is today's date? It is the 21st. The 21st, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing today? I feel the same as I do every day. I don't take days off. One day I'll take days off, but while I'm building this thing, it doesn't give you much time to rest. Guys, this great article came out. All right, I read it. It's an op-ed by Newt Gingrich. You should all know who Newt Gingrich is. If you don't, go Google him. I don't need to tell you who Newt Gingrich is. He wrote an article called Woke American Military Puts the U.S. in Danger. Here's how. All right. And this is about an oath that Navy Task Force 1 is putting out that they're going to look at starting to force making sailors a pledge to. And it comes right out of the critical race theory woke handbook of BS and garbage. All right. I don't see how any of this makes things better. I don't see how the military needed to be more inclusive. They were inclusive enough when I was in. People were allowed to be who they are out in public and whatnot. The issue, all right, the issue here is them poisoning future generations of warfighters with this woke ideology. All right. We're going to read through this. We're going to talk a little bit about what this means, where it's going, where it could go. We're going to do it on the fly. So we're going to have some off-the-cuff conversations, you and I. Folks, do me a favor, all right? Before you go and do that, before you go and listen to me, I'm going to give you a couple seconds, all right? If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give me a 5-star rating. Just right now, just go there, give the 5-star rating. You know this is going to be good. You can hear it in my voice already. It's going to be a great podcast. You're going to love every second of it. So do me that favor. Give me the 5-star rating. And if you really love me, guys, write in a review. It helps massage the algorithm there on Apple Podcasts, moves me up the ratings, the rankings, allows other patriots to see what we are doing so we can keep empowering people and waking people up. All right, folks, make sure you also, all right, share. With that being said, folks, let's get started, all right? The identity politics that come from intersectionality are designed to separate people, and that's very important. We're going to talk about intersectionality because that is in this pledge. All right. This is by Newt Gingrich. Like I said, Newt Gingrich, big deal. All right, guys, he is a big deal. It sounded like I said he's not a big deal at all, right, when I said it. But no, I mean, he is the real deal. All right. Newt Gingrich is a very, very brilliant former Speaker of the House. The recent revelation that a senior Navy task force is proposing an oath to be taken by every member of the Navy was a warning of how deep woke think has penetrated American institutions, even the Defense Department. All right, that's where we're at, folks. That is the truth. We're at a point where much of our most important institutions have been infiltrated by this woke virus, a virus that's going to prove to be much deadlier than any coronavirus could ever be if they don't make a 180 very, very, very soon. All right, guys, consider this pledge proposed by Task Force Navy 1, which was formed in June to develop strategies to combat discrimination in the Navy. Quote, I pledge to advocate for and acknowledge all lived experiences and intersectional identities of every sailor in the Navy. I pledge to engage in ongoing self-reflection, education, and knowledge sharing to better myself and my community. I pledge to be an example in establishing healthy, inclusive, and team-oriented environments. That's not a bad one. See, they mix this stuff in there. I pledge to constructively share all experiences and information gained from activities above to inform the development of Navy-wide reforms. Oh, that one's kind of scary, too. That means they're required to report back to the Borg, ladies and gentlemen. They're required to give status updates. That's lovely. That's a programming, brainwashing 101. All right. Put the self-reflection, put the reporting. All right. Mix that in with the intersectionality. You have a recipe for disaster. Okay. And we're going to tell you what intersectionality is in a second. Reread this pledge and think of the young men and women who will be asked to commit to it. First, how many recruits will have any idea what this intersectionality is? All right. What will they actually be made to advocate for? What are they actually being made to pledge to, right? The definitions are always changed by the left. So this is a very vague, yet very, very problematic, well, vague and problematic pledge that they have put out. It really is. It's scary. I was in the Navy, all right? And there were instances where people were disciplined for discrimination. It's happened, all right? The world's not a perfect place, okay? But not in the way that they make it seem, all right? And I went to boot camp older, right? I was like 24, 25. I'd lived some life already. And most of the 18-year-olds that I went to boot camp with were like empty vessels. I grew up pretty hard. I'm not going to get into too many details. You can go and listen to some of my old podcasts if you want those details. I'm not trying to brag about how tough my upbringing was. What I'm trying to make a point about is that a lot of the people in there were from the middle of nowhere, the different small cities, small tiny towns across the USA, and they were like empty jars waiting to be filled with knowledge, ready to do anything that their instructors told them to. So if they told them to drink up this woke Kool-Aid, man, they would be gulping. They'd be sucking at the teat of wokeness, ladies and gentlemen, sucking at the teat of wokeness. All right. How many new recruits will have any idea what this intersectionality they've pledged to advocate for and acknowledge actually is? Not many of them. That's a fact, and I can vouch for that from experience, ladies and gentlemen, as wikia.org defines it. All right, now I'm going to tell you what intersectionality is. Intersectionality is a concept often used in critical theories, critical race theory, red flag, ding, 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 to describe the way in which oppressive institutions, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, xenophobia, classism, etc. There's so many oppressed people, are interconnected and cannot be examined separately from one another. And that's a problem because they aren't interconnected. Not everybody. So Everybody's different. All right. We know everybody's different. We've established everybody's different. Everybody has different capabilities. Everybody has different genetic maximums in their life, what they can achieve, what they can't achieve. If you work really hard, man, you can achieve a hell of a lot in the United States. And that's the thing that we've done here with capitalism and with the free system that we have. We've empowered people based upon their genetic abilities and their lifestyle and their hard work to be able to achieve more than they ever could have accomplished based on their own somewhere else without those freedoms that allowed them to explore all these different avenues in life. The problem with this is that intersectionality puts every person with a problem on the same scale. Somebody who is African American and is being treated unfairly and taken advantage of and not given a job, let's say because they're African American, even if they're the most qualified, is very different, all right, than a 45-year-old man who puts a wig on and yells at the GameStop guy, "It's ma'am! It's ma'am!" Those are two completely different struggles. And any black person out there who wants to disagree with me, go ahead and disagree with me. I'm sure you agree. All right. If you don't agree, then you're probably drinking some woke Kool-Aid. What I'm getting at is intersectionality says that those two things are the same thing. It says that somebody that murders Jews in the name of Hitler is the same as woke ma'am screaming at the GameStop cashier. I have a problem with that. That is Fantasyland nonsense. That is what they're selling to kids in school, and that's what they want to make new recruits, impressionable 18-year-olds, our sons and daughters. That's what they want them to pledge to. The website goes on to say it is largely used in critical theories, especially feminist theory, when discussing systematic oppression. Remember, everybody's oppressed now systematically. It's not true, but, you know, it's their talking point. That's how they're going to sell the socialist utopia. It's profoundly wrong to have our young men and women in uniform take a pledge like this. Since most of the sailors will not know what intersectionality is, they'll be instructed by woke professionals who make a living teaching wokeness in government, corporations, and educational systems. And when I was in the Navy, they would bring outside sources and outside folks to teach some things to us, to do these safety stand downs and give classes to us about different things. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these woke education courses going around the country, teaching government officials in Seattle that it's bad to be white, teaching people around the country that the ma'am lady from GameStop is the same thing as a hate crime. It's ridiculous. It's all just a test model to run it at the government, to run it not at the government, but to run it at the military, run it right through the military. If they can make the military woke, they can overthrow the entire country. Think about that. Think about that. Since most of the sailors will not know what intersectionality is, they will be instructed by woke professionals who make a living teaching wokeness in government, corporations, and educational systems. All the training they would ever need to convince our warfighters that woke was right and individuality was wrong. Terrible. There's now an entire industry of woke instructors and woke experts who make pretty good livings putting on mandatory woke lessons where people are trapped by the power structure and forced to learn left-wing nonsense as a condition of keeping their jobs. I'm going to tell you, at my day job, which I can't reveal, all right? I mean, if they knew I did this, I'd get fired anyway, but I don't want to make that quicker, all right? I'm not making any money from this, so I would like to keep my ability to feed my children. Listen, these people don't stop. Like I'm saying, at my job, they have made us take trainings. I know I'm getting kind of quiet, but it's because I'm putting a lot at risk by saying this. At my job, I've had to take those e-learning classes. All right. And they teach you things. They tell you things about how to drive a forklift or, a certification for this or certification of that. But now ethical training comes out. And part of our ethical training, part of the Kool-Aid that they force you to drink to keep your job includes wokeness. It's bleeding in, and it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before my job is making me take an oath like this. All right? So this is going around. This is not BS. When Newt Gingrich says where people are trapped by the power structure and forced to learn left-wing nonsense as a condition of keeping their jobs, he's not lying. And you know it, and I know it, because we're from that class of people. It's time to accept the fact that there's a class structure in this country, and every single class structure has no damn idea how the other class structure lives. Maybe only the couple of us that go up and down the class structures and build our lives up or fall apart and go down a few pegs, we get to taste the different rungs of the ladder a little bit. But there are people up at the top, we have no idea how they live, and it's obvious that they have no idea how we live. Obvious, ladies and gentlemen, obvious. So should this pledge be instituted, we'll soon have a brainwashed military spouting partisan ideological nonsense. Members will be told their survival in the military and their chance for promotion is dependent on learning left-wing baloney. Trust me, you don't get promoted if you don't do your qualifications. It's true, and you have to get those signed off. You have to get those signed off, ladies and gentlemen. We want a military dedicated to war fighting. We don't want a military dedicated to this left-wing crap, all right? We want a military dedicated to learning the lessons of military history, preparing to defeat our opponents if we are military threatened, if we are threatened by another country. That's what we want our military to focus on, the kind of potentially heroic young men and women who rally to the flag to fight for America are not going to be strengthened in their dedication to winning by having to learn an ideology that's been foisted on a gullible country by woke flim-flam artists, the modern grifters of phony sociology and politics. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, in time, people will look back on this moment as like the crazy 20s. They will. And they'll be known as the grifters of our time. The left-wing anti-American bias of the woke movement proves that the very words of the pledge itself are a lie. The pledge says, I pledge to advocate for knowledge. It says, I pledge to advocate for and acknowledge all lived experiences and intersectional identities of every sailor in the Navy. Do you think the writers of that really mean it? Do you? What if you're a fundamentalist Christian or an Orthodox Jew who joined the Navy? Do you think this new pledge means people are supposed to listen to and support you? What if your life experiences include a belief in the right to life and a deep commitment to marriage between a man and a woman? Do you think trying to explain that is going to be applauded by the woke fanatics? Do you think they'll advocate for and acknowledge your lived experience? You know, there's a simple answer for that, ladies and gentlemen, and you know it and I know it, and the answer is no, they won't. You already see news stories coming out. You've got officials saying that 1 in 10 military members are racists, they're white supremacists, they must be rooted out. What definition are they even giving to the words white supremacist? Are they talking about skin color? Are they talking about the ideology of white supremacy that they've created in their new woke dictionary? Which one is it? Who are they coming after? All right? I think we all know the answer for that. They're coming after all of us, ladies and gentlemen. We've all supported Trump. We've all talked about it. It's all over our Facebook. They all communicate. They're going to do everything they can to silence us however they can, even if that means brainwashing the future generation so that as a contingency, when we grow old and die out, there won't be anybody left having these values preserved for the United States of America. It'll just be the United States of socialist woke nonsense. Will be a third world hellhole. by the time the radical left is done with us. And then they'll use that to sweep it up and implement a socialist takeover, a government takeover, a communist takeover. Because, ladies and gentlemen, socialism is just the precursor. It all leads to communism. All roads lead to communism. And communism, my friends, communism leads to, well, all you've got to do is take a look at China right now. Take a look at China. Take a look at how they run the show. And why don't you ask the Uyghurs how they feel? Stuff's ridiculous. What if your life experiences have led you to a deep patriotism and a belief that the police and the American military are forces of good? Do you think your woke instructor is going to encourage the class to listen to you if you start talking like an author at National Review or Sean Hannity? Remember, the heart of intersectionality is learning about oppressive institutions like racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, xenophobia, classism, etc. Where do you think heterosexual white males fit in that paradigm? And I've been questioning this myself because they've got us kind of trapped. If you ask, what about white males, they label you a white supremacist or a racist. How dare you? How dare you say that white people could ever feel any oppression whatsoever? How dare you? Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, you little peasant piece of crap, before we shut it for you. That is what is going on to white males, right? We are actually being oppressed. There are other people being oppressed. When I say white males are being oppressed, that doesn't mean I'm saying nobody else is being oppressed. So don't get all righteous and mighty just because you have white guilt. I don't have any white guilt. None whatsoever. It's 2021. It's not 1610. It's not 1419. I don't even have relatives that were here during slavery. I don't have any white guilt. I don't have guilt for colonialism or anything. I believe good and bad has happened throughout the centuries. And we learn from the bad and we try to make this world a better place. But no, you believe in condemning and punishing people, even for things that happened hundreds of years ago. You're sick-minded, twisted, mentally inept individuals, all of you lefties. And you make me sick to my stomach. Sorry, I went on a little rant there. It happens sometimes, all right? If you're new here, you're going to find that. It's a different kind of entertainment, a personal kind of entertainment, a deep in the gut form of entertainment, guys. Just is what it is. That's how we run it. All right. That's how we run it around here. So where do white males fit in? Of course, they're seen as the enemies, right? This is what the left says. We hear it all the time from the woke left. White males are the enemies, the oppressors, the ones who must be outed. Remember that ableism is discrimination in favor of able-bodied people. Military institutions must produce the toughest, most capable, and strongest people in order to win in combat. The entire premise of intersectionality is madness when applied to a military institution. It's madness when applied to anything. The identity politics that come from intersectionality are designed to separate people into different social groups with different ratings of privilege and grievance. Military units must be one team in complete unity, or Americans die and America fails. That is as simple as it could be put, and that is the truth. And I've been saying this. There is no race war. There's a class war going on. The identity politics, the intersectionality, all this wokeness, it splits us all into groups and pits us all against each other. Plain and simple. Inject that into the military and watch what happens. It's already leaking into the military. This is like opening the fire hydrant. Finally, this proposed Navy pledge is insane because of the signals it sends to our potential enemies. Can you imagine Xi Jinping, who is in the middle of simultaneously orchestrating the genocide of the Uyghurs in Xinjiang? Is that how you say it? Xinjiang? Xinjiang province, well, however, I messed it up. I apologize. And the suppression of the pro-freedom movement in Hong Kong, being briefed that the U.S. Navy has decided to become a social work experiment in feeling warm and understanding about each other. Do we think this will make the Chinese Communist dictatorship more or less likely to test our resolve in the South China Sea or the Taiwan Strait? Do we think this newly emerging sensitive U.S. Navy will lead them to stand down because they realize what nice people we've become? Folks, I got out of the Navy in 2015, and let me tell you this right now, from direct experience, the Navy has been getting sensitive long before this happened. This is just the rocket booster pack, the nitro boost, the jet engine to wokeness. That's what this is. But they've been on the path for a while. It's been seeping in, ladies and gentlemen, like a corrosive leak of the blood from the creature from the movie Alien, just leaking through every deck of the spacecraft. It's like a leak you can't stop. It's a virus, ladies and gentlemen. It's a virus. Similarly, you can imagine Vladimir Putin in the middle of planning the poisoning of one or more of his opposition leaders, being told that the new woke American Navy was prepared to contest the Black Sea or the Baltic. Do you think he'd be more likely to back off or more likely to test this new social sciences experiment? The Defense Department is starting down a dangerous road. The Congress should stop it. And I agree 100% with you. Newt Gingrich, if you ever hear this and you ever want to throw the little guy a bone, I would love to have you on this podcast and pick your brain, sir. You are one of the geniuses of our time, and I would love to talk to you about a whole rigmarole of stuff, not just what's going on right now. But guys, this is terrible. This is terrible. This is terrifying. It's unacceptable. It's tyrannical. It's diabolical. I'm going to run out of words that end with the sound "ugh," because it's just so maniacal. All right? It leads. Okay, I'm done with that. But seriously, I'm serious, 100%. It leads to bad things. When our military is so soft and so woke, there's going to be nothing that stands in the way of the socialist maniacs from toppling our government and changing our way of life forever. Who cares if they amend the Constitution if the army doesn't do anything about it? Who cares? This country is at a very dangerous point right now. It's at a very dangerous point. And we have to respect that. We have to recognize that. And we have to do whatever it takes to not close our mouths about things like this. I would like to recommend that you write your Congress folks. All right. You write your Congress members. All right. I'll try to find a link of where you can find all of the information for your Congress member, the congressman or woman of your area. And I'll try to put it in the comment section below. But I recommend you send them an email, ring them on the phone, and you say, hey, what is this? You need to start looking into what the military's doing. I'm afraid for the safety of my children and my grandchildren. What world are they going to grow up in? What are we going to do when everything is woke and the walls are closing in? What are they going to do to us? There's 80 million of us, ladies and gentlemen. What are they going to do? Are they going to put us in camps? Are they going to put us in re-education camps? Are they going to dig pits, cover us with lye after they gas us? What are they going to do? Or is this going to be a new 2021 type digital extermination where we can't buy food, we can't buy groceries, we become the third world citizens and the illegal immigrants replace us? Is that what's going to happen? What are they doing? Folks, if you're not awake, it's time to start paying attention. All right. I appreciate you watching, ladies and gentlemen. I really wanted to do this episode. I thought it was important to put out what Newt Gingrich writes. I really respect Newt. So whatever he writes, whatever he puts out, I always try to report on as best I can. I feel like everything he is saying here It may be too nice. It may be not harsh enough. It may be not stern enough. But then again, maybe he's nicer than I am. All I'm saying is that diversity, true diversity, is a strength, right? It is. But woke diversity is a trap, all right? As Admiral Akbar would say, it's a trap. All right. And I know a trap when I see one. Folks, do me a favor. As many of you know, Parler is back up for a lot of us. All right. It's back up on the phone, on the app for a lot of people. It's back up on the website, parler.com, Parler. I know in the next week or two, they're going to open it up for people who want to sign up and other people that it maybe hasn't been working for. It should be getting better. That's what I've heard. But check it out. Here's my site. All right. For those listening, I'm at www.parler.com/profile/the James Lane /posts. And there you have it. American Reveille has a Parler page. It's up. If you have a Parler account, look up at the James Lane and follow. Please follow. It's very, very important. I need you to do that for me. We need to make sure that no matter what happens, we can stay in contact. With all the censorship, you never know what is going down, all right? We're on Gab as well. Gab is growing. Gab's doing good. https://gab.com/American_Reveille. All right, look us up at American_Reveille on Gab. All right. Gab is picking up, guys. I'm actually pretty impressed. It's stabilized. It's doing pretty good. Odyssey. All right. Replacing YouTube, in my opinion. I love this platform. ODYSEE.com. All right. Find me there. American_Reveille. Just search for it. I'm going to have links in the description section below. So please make sure you click. Please make sure you go to my profile. All right, on Odyssey, you follow me and you click the notification bell. It is extremely important you do this. If YouTube bans me, you'll never see my videos again unless you know where to find me. So please take care of that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you can find me at American_Reveille on Rumble. And please come to my website, www.americanreveille.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a weekly recap to your email, a message from me. I'll let you know how the company's doing, different projects we're on, stuff like that. All of the podcasts that came out during the week and all of the articles that came out during the week. So you never lose track. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. I just put it out to make sure it's convenient to you. All right. So sign up on the website, www.americanreveille.com. Hit the button that says sign up for our Patriots Only newsletter. All right. And folks, if you love what we're doing, if you appreciate what you're doing, what we're doing, if you want to see us survive through all this censorship and all this mayhem, please, we're at the beginning stages of a large scale company. So funding can be an issue sometimes. I pay for this from my day job. So please, if you would like, donate to us, help us stay afloat, support us. It's all getting put right back into the company. Go to www.americanreveille.com. All right. Hit the support us tab. You can donate Dogecoin. You can donate Monero. You can donate Bitcoin. I've got the links, like the code and the QR that you can click. And also, of course, all right, cold hard cash is the best, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Hit the support us button. It'll take you right to a PayPal thing. You can give us $1. You can give us $1,000. Just be assured, know that it'll go right back into the American Reveille. There won't be any steak dinners from it, folks. It'll all go to the expenses of growing what's going to be the greatest media and entertainment company for conservatives this country has ever seen. It may not be this year, it may not be next year, but mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, the competition's coming, folks. So please, if you'd like to give us any feedback, hit the contact tab. You can go in there, contact me about anything, or email me directly, jameslane@americanreveille.com. You can also send any feedback, any recommendations, or if you'd like to help us out, www.americanreveille.com. Hit the contact us tab. You can write me a message there, or again, one last time, email me directly, jameslane@americanreveille.com. Folks, I hope you have a killer Sunday. Get some rest and get ready to kick this upcoming week's ass. I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.